So we're going to run you through a bunch of funding tactics, fundraising, scholarships, savings. So we have Paula here from AIFS.
Hi, Freddie. Morning.
Do you want to introduce
Sure.
yourself or say anything?
My name is Paula Messina, and I work with AIFS Study Abroad. We're the study abroad provider that works in conjunction with Citrus and all of the consortium schools, in case any of you are not from Citrus, to run their study abroad programs. And my job is to kind of help John promote the programs and tell the students all about it. So what we can do is we're going to run through this. This shouldn't take very long, and then if you want us to run through Kyoto and a little bit, run London.
Maybe we can just do questions because we'll have an info session coming up.
Okay.
All right.
So just to give you a little background on study abroad, right? The next slide, sorry. Right, why bother study abroad? It is such an investment monetarily, right? It's a huge economic investment. It is a huge time investment, right? Taking maybe a semester away or going to Kyoto will sort of divide up your summer. Why bother study abroad? Well, this statistic is sort of the reason why, right? Fewer than 10% of U.S. college students study abroad. So out of the millions of college students we have in this country, only about 400,000 go abroad every year to do a study abroad program where they complete an academic program that will end up on their transcript and count towards their degree. That's important. Why? Right? Because having those kinds of numbers set you apart from 90% of your peers at least, right? So having that international experience on your transcript, having it on your resume, gives you this experience that most of your peers won't. So when you're in the transfer process, when you are looking to get into grad school, when you're looking for a job later on after you're done with your degrees, it sets you apart and you have this international experience that is highly desirable in the workplace, right? Skills that you gain when you are studying abroad, like adaptability, flexibility, thinking out of the box, problem solving, creativity. Those are things that employers are looking for, these skills that they need in today's multicultural world. I can't think of any major or any field that is not in some way touched by globalization, internationalization. So having this on your resume makes you highly employable. That's why we think this is a good investment of time and money, because it's something that later on is going to get you hired, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I always like to point out that you're a college student, and so I don't know if you've noticed how time is starting to move faster. Like the semester maybe went by really quick for you. As you get older, it accelerates exponentially. Yeah. So this is the time to do study abroad, right? You have the time in between. As a student, you can go study there and be there a month. Most Americans, a month or a semester, most Americans don't have that luxury. Once you graduate, most Americans have like 6 days holidays or 12 days maybe. So this is the time. And then also you have resources as a student, right? Maybe you can get help from your community or your family. You can do fundraising, there's scholarships, you can utilize financial aid. So this is the best time to do it because hopefully you can travel more later in life, but we don't know what will happen later in life. So might as well do this while you can.
So the first thing we're going to do is start and kind of know your finances. So if we look on the worksheet on the back, and actually on the back side of this, you start there, right? And what we want you to do is kind of investigate your program. And we have information on the upcoming 2 programs to this summer and next fall. So what's your program fee? Do you have the approximate cost? Do you have the actual cost? Obviously, if you have the actual cost, you want to put it in there. What's the separate tuition fee? What are the optionals that you're interested in participating in? Because most of the programs that we do have an optional trip offered, right? It's what the word optional means. You can take it if you can afford it, and if you can't, then you don't have to. The round trip flights, because they're not included in our programs. So we do offer a group trip. Are you going to find your own flight, right? And so that kind of costs you want to put in there as well. Meals, what kind of meals are included? What kind of meals are you going to be responsible for? So you want to start figuring out some approximations. What kind of independent travel do I want to do when I'm out there? Do I want to do my dream trip to Paris when I'm in London? Do I want to visit Rome? When I'm in Japan, do I want to go to Tokyo for a long weekend? And then any pre-departure expenses that I'm going to need. Do I have my passport or no? Do I have the luggage that I'm going to need to? Do I have to invest in that kind of thing? And then what kind of spending money, right, do I need? So all those kinds of things you want to start to plan for and to budget, right? Financial aid. What kind of financial aid do I qualify? This is a good time to go to my financial aid office, look on my Wingspan, and start to research all the financial aid that I have. Do I qualify for the Pell Grant? Approximately how much will I be granted? The Cal Grant? Am I going to take out any subsidized or unsubsidized student loans? Those are options as well that are considered financial aid. And then any other grants that I qualify for. If you are a BOG fee waiver student, that would cover your tuition. That's now called the Promise Grant. And there are other grants that I can never remember the names of.
Well, there's this, if you do EOP&S,
right.
There's the Full-Time Student Success Grant and
Right.
the California Community College Completion Grant. That's a
Right.
mouthful. I have a flyer for those. I can't remember the amounts. I think $1,800 or so
Yeah,
a year.
it was a lot.
And you need to be a full-time student, so you'd have to have 15 units in the fall or spring, or 3 in the winter, and then 12 in the fall, or 3 in the summer, 12 in the spring, and so on. That's the Full-Time Student Success Grant and the California Community College Completion Grant. To qualify for those, you got to be a full-time student. I think you need the Pell Grant.
Right.
Check in with financial aid. They're the experts with financial aid, surprisingly.
Definitely. So then I'm going to finish my worksheet by totaling my fees and expenses that I anticipate, subtracting the financial aid that will be granted to me, and then I'm going to figure out more or less how much I have to pay out of pocket. All right. We also encourage that everybody apply for scholarships. A small percentage of students actually apply for scholarships. They think, I'll never win before they even apply. They think, I don't have the time to do the scholarship applications. It's not worth it because I probably won't win anyway. And so there are a lot of scholarships out there, and really starting and putting together one really good essay that can be tweaked and reused and for other scholarship applications, that it could be a really good investment. I mean, we're going to tell you about scholarships that are worth up to $5,000. So, a few hours of work on a scholarship essay could be a really good investment. I mean, I don't earn that kind of money per hour, so it could be good. Now, of course, scholarship is something that you have to win. They're not guaranteed. So the harder you work at it, probably the more likely that you would be to win. So we want you to use your breaks, and I know if you're taking a winter term program course, you're about to finish that in the next week or so, and you'll have a few days in between the long weekend, right? You don't start class until Wednesday the 20th again. So you'll have a couple days that you can really put some hours into a scholarship essay. So we're going to give you some tips, and we're going to kind of go over what makes a really good essay, and we're going to tell you about some specific scholarships that you should be looking into. These are all some really good advice, right? And this PowerPoint is up on the Citrus College website, Study Abroad website, so you can go through and read the tips.
And I'll update this, I'll update the website with this version.
Yes. Yeah. So these are, definitely apply for every single scholarship you can. The Gilman, we're going to go over that in just a sec. There are location or major specific scholarships. There's some wild card scholarships like Heritage Scholarships. The Hispanic Fund has some great scholarships out there. These are some sort of websites that have links to scholarships. So these are kind of like databases, right? This NAFSA International Educators, that's got some great links to scholarships. So does CCCIE, CCIEworld.org has some great scholarships. We're going to tell you about them in a few minutes. Studyabroad.com. Go ahead. Go overseas, studyabroadfunding.org. There's some government-funded scholarships, scholarships for women. I mean, you can apply for any scholarship. It's not necessarily study abroad.
Did you mention the foundation scholarships?
No, I didn't. I
Okay.
think that's in there.
That's in there? Okay.
Next. It might be. No, it's not. Go
It's
ahead.
not?
Do
Well,
the
just,
foundation.
okay, so in the spring, if you're a Citrus College student or if you're from another college, you probably have a similar foundation scholarship. So the foundation scholarship, you can go Google Citrus College Foundation. It won't be open now. I forget when it opens in the spring, but it's specifically for Citrus students. And they have like 300 scholarships in there. You just fill out one application and then you check some boxes about yourself, and then you automatically qualify for a number of these scholarships. So, you know, the awards can range from like 100 or 200 to 2,000, 3,000. I think most students who apply are awarded because with scholarships, as Paula said, most students are not applying because people think they can't get these scholarships. So I think if you do put in the time, you'll receive some funding. And if you put in hard work and quality time, you'll receive an award of some sort. So should I go into the Gilman?
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about it while I get it set up?
What it is while you get that set up. So the Gilman Scholarship is probably the most important study abroad scholarship out there today. And this is open to all U.S. citizen undergrads that receive the Pell Grant, right? So it is limited to Pell Grant eligible students. The function of the scholarship is to increase diversity and the opportunity to all students to study abroad. It is a scholarship that is funded by the U.S. government, but is administrated by a .org called IIE. And the deadline for the upcoming summer and fall programs is within a month away. It's about 3 weeks away. It is March 5th at like 9 p.m. our time. So John is going to kind of work you through how to apply for this. Most scholarship applications are pretty much kind of the same, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
what I say here, you can, it crosses over to other scholarships.
Exactly.
So I'm going to go through this kind of quickly because we don't have time to go into detail on
Yeah.
this. And this, again, I'll put this video online.
Mhm.
So do you want to be my clicker?
Sure, sorry.
That's okay. All right, so we kind of talked about what the Gilman is. Yeah, it's from the U.S. Department of State, and they want to have a more accurate representation of Americans abroad, because sometimes you only get these wealthy certain kinds of students abroad from four-year UCs or private institutions.
4-year privates, right?
So, you know, it's rare for community college students to go abroad, and the government wants to change that because there's so many benefits to study abroad. And to be eligible, yes, U.S. citizen, undergraduate, good academic standing, and you need to be receiving the Pell Grant. That's the main thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we go to the next one. So right now it is open, and you can apply or begin applying. You can start and save your progress. So for the summer and fall programs, London or Kyoto, the deadline is not that far away, really, at all. First Tuesday of March.
3 weeks.
If you're going to Costa Rica or you're doing Sevilla, Spain, it's the deadline is the first Tuesday of October. And it's always the same, first Tuesday of March, first Tuesday of October every year. You generally need to create 2 essays. You have to upload unofficial or official transcripts. This is nice. It used to be only official. Now it can be unofficial.
And you need to do it from all universities or colleges that you've attended. So there's a lot of information there, but basically just upload all your transcripts. And here's the dates. So this period opens in mid-January. March 5th again is the student deadline. Be careful right here. My student worker, she applied last time and she had everything done, but she forgot about the central time, right? Which is what, 2 hours different?
Yeah, it's 9:59 here.
9:59 for us. So she tried to upload it at like 10:30 and then she couldn't apply.
Right.
So be careful. Central time. Advisor deadline, I have to just click something and somebody in financial aid clicks something that says, yes, you do get the Pell Grant. I say, yes, you are doing study abroad. And let me know. Please come to me. Bring your essay to me. I was a reader for the candidate selection process, and I can write a little bit, so I can give you some advice. So please make an appointment with me. I'll read over your essay. Or make an appointment with the Writing Center, or someone you know, or
An English faculty.
an English faculty.
Hmm.
Okay, and then late May, they let you know, and it seems like they're really late. When the government shutdown happened, I think that screwed them up.
Yeah.
So hopefully they'll let you know before your payment deadlines, but that's not always the case. So again, to reiterate what Paula said, you can't depend on scholarships. Hopefully they come through, but you need fundraising or financial aid or some other solid, dependable method of paying your fees. And here's you can just Google, Gilman scholarship, and it'll take you to the online application system. It's pretty simple. And this information, again, you don't need, you have to put in a bunch of information about the program. And it's not super strict. Students get stressed out about, oh, this isn't 100% accurate, but it's pretty common sense. They want to know, they're not going to say, oh, they said they didn't write Southern California Foothills Consortium. They wrote Citrus College. Denied. No, they're not so strict like that. So don't stress out too much. Again, I'll put this online so you can copy this information, but it's pretty common sense. And if you go to the next one.
Next one?
Yeah. So these are the costs. You can go back. I updated this, and what I do is you want to kind of like inflate the costs a little bit because they see this amount, and that might help them determine how much an award that you will receive, right? So you want to inflate the cost, but not too much. Don't get crazy, So program fees, yes, that's how much the program fees are for Kyoto. And round trip airfare, that is the AIFS flight. Maybe you book your own flight and it's less. 3 meals, 30 days. This is bloated a little bit. It's less than that, really. But, don't raise eyebrows. In-state tuition is accurate. Textbooks will be less than this. So, but I'm just trying to point out that you need to err on the side of excess, so you're awarded more. And then same thing with the next slide. You have the host family, and these fees are accurate. We don't know the flight price. I just put that in. Again, food, we're just estimating on the excessive side. Tuition's accurate, $47 a unit. Textbooks, that's a bloated amount, honestly. So that's just an idea. You'll have to put this information in there. Okay, next one. And you have some essays to write. And compose them in Word first. And there is a character limit, 1.5 pages, approximately single-spaced in a word processing program. Make sure to review your essay. Again, bring it to me if you like, or somebody else to review it before you submit it. Okay. So there's 6 questions. I think it's more effective when you put the questions in an essay format. Don't just put the question, answer, because it doesn't flow very well. So you want to kind of create a story, right?
Yes.
And you want to talk about your personal situation, your reasons for wanting to study abroad, and they want you to connect it to your academic and professional goals. If you say, I want to study abroad because I've just never left the country and it's going to be fun, it's so vague, so common. You need to tell these people about yourself. You need to craft an interesting backstory and how this is going to change your life and how it fits with your goals, okay? So you don't want to say, I've always wanted to travel. You want to tell them about your life, like I said, reasons why you want to travel. And they're looking for non-traditional students, so think about what makes you special, okay? If you were a foster youth, if you grew up with a single parent, if you're a minority, what makes you unique? If you're a STEM student, right? Think about things that make you unique. And then make sure to emphasize that you attend a community college. Because again, they're trying to promote this for unique, non-traditional students, and for study abroad, again, not many community college students go abroad. Okay, let's go to the next one. I just copied the slide they sent me when I was reading to determine who will be awarded. So that's primary and secondary factors, so you would want to address these. Okay? So you can see diversity of participant. That's a primary factor in the first one they list. So you really need to emphasize aspects of your diversity. And again, diversity could be ethnicity, it could be growing up in the foster care system, it could be maybe you're a first-generation college student, right? And country and regional destination, they will prefer students who are not going to traditional places. So if you're going to Kyoto or Costa Rica, that would be non-traditional locations. Europe, you will have to work harder to sell them on why you're a good candidate for Europe. Critical need language, we're not studying a critical need language. Institutional diversity and distribution. All right, this college is a Hispanic serving institution. So even if you're not Hispanic, you would say, I attend a Hispanic serving institution, an HSI. Secondary factors, essay. Even though this says secondary, I don't believe it's secondary at all, because you are telling people a story about yourself, and you want to move them, you want to make it emotional. That's going to really determine your success. And you want to end on a high note, but you don't want to end on a depressing note. Academic performance is secondary, so even if you have not had a very high GPA, it's a secondary factor. Program length, field of study, so if you mention you're a STEM major, that helps out. Previous experience abroad, they do prefer people that have not been abroad. Okay. Yeah, the other points to address, because we don't, like I said, a lot of our programs are in Europe, and that's not a non-traditional location. So you have to stress that this is the only program available to you in the fall or spring, because I think people reading these essays are from four-year universities, and they're like, oh, why don't they just choose a non-traditional location? We don't have it. We only have these programs, so you have to stress that. STEM major, I said. And then you have to emphasize your financial needs. You have to say you cannot participate without the scholarship. Yeah, strong financial need. Financial aid's not enough. Now is the only time to do it because you're transferring and you can't leave the country with your major once you transfer out, right? You have specific classes for your major. Maybe there's a residency requirement at your university. Okay. And then there's the follow-on. This is the second part of the project. This is really simple. You just need an idea of how you're going to promote the Gilman. It could be, and then you're not, if you write this and then later you are like, that's not a good idea, I'm going to do this, and you come back, you can change it, do whatever you want. They just want you to do something to promote it. But you do want to write a good story about how you'll promote it. Students have done, blogs or video things or things on campus, little events. So, yeah, it doesn't have to be too complicated. And being creative is great. All right, so that's basically it. All right, so if you have more questions about the Gilman, come talk to me, make an appointment, and again, I'll put this information online. I'll put yours back up.
So we have more scholarships information here. The FEA scholarship is a one application for 10 different scholarships. The deadlines are quite early. The deadlines have already passed for this summer and fall programs. But if you're thinking about Costa Rica for winter 2020 or Spain for spring 2020, your deadline begins in August to September 15.
Okay. Next.
That is another scholarship that from HI International, Hosteling International, that is also open only to Pell Grant recipients, I believe. Definitely check out that website. There are quite a few community scholarships as well. A lot of organizations run their own scholarships, academic scholarships, generally not just study abroad. And then just do it. Like we said, this is more advice. Don't think you're not going to win it from the start. You might as well, try. Next. John already did go over some good scholarship essay information. I have, for the past month, I've been working with Cassie Rubio at Mount SAC. She's their study abroad coordinator there. And I had some free time, and she let me sit in on some of her meetings. When she was working directly with her students, and she is a creative writing major, and she is a screenwriter, so she's got really good writing experience, and she has a method that I have written down and given to you guys here. And I am looking at her results, and she has helped a lot of students win the Gilman. She's had really, really amazing results with this method. So just to basically go over it, it's all written down here in these 2 pages on how to write a winning essay. And this is her method, right? First, read the scholarship application. Find out what kind of essay should be written. But then she wants you to make several brainstorming lists. So in the beginning, she wants you to make a list of program features, right? Read through your program information. Find out what your program features and really understand it. Why is it appealing to you? What interests you about it? What would be helpful or relevant to your future from that program, right? Make a list about the city and the region where your program will take place. What kind of places, monuments, museums are located there? What kind of traditions are held in that city? Are there festivals? What kind of culture will you be able to experience? What kind of food do you want to taste there? Why do you want to go to that place? Is it a place you've always been on your bucket list? Is it there, a famous artist, architect that has built buildings there that you've always wanted to see? Was there a book you read when you were little that inspired you to go there, or a program that you watched, or a person that told you about it? Have you ever traveled to other countries? Where did you go? What did you see? Make a list of everything you loved about your trip. And it could be everything from things you saw, to things you tasted, to people you met, to just feelings that you had when you were there. All right? Just start writing lists of all of that. And she always recommends when you write lists, write them in bullet points, but write sentences, right? Write a sentence, not just a word, but write a sentence. And then what's inspired you to study abroad? A person, a place, a thing. Be specific. Is it in the personal, academic, or professional categories. And then what she wants you to do is make another brainstorming list. She wants you to write 3 categories and write, you'll have a personal, academic, and professional. And that's the order that you will write your essay in. Personal, then academic, and then professional. But when you brainstorm, you're going to do it out of order. First, you're going to start by brainstorming academics. So you'll make bullet points and write full sentences, simple full sentences of your high school, your current college, your year, your major. And then just start answering all of these questions. After you're done brainstorming your academic, you can always go back as, you're working and you go onto another column, you can always go back, leave extra room. Brainstorm your professional. What does your professional future look like, right? Where are you going? What will be your professional journey? What's your dream job? How will study abroad help you achieve your goals, right? So answer all of those questions. And then the last thing that she wants you to brainstorm, but the first thing you'll write about when you do your essay is your personal. So what's your age, where are you from, where were you born, what's your ethnicity, and that ties in a lot into what John was saying, right? Are you a minority? Or do you have, are you first generation in the United States? What were you like when you were younger? Talk about your family relationships. And then this is also sometimes a sensitive part of the essay, but it is something that will help you win. You need to talk about things that you have experienced in your life, right? So that second to last question in the personal category is the winner. This is what's going to help you win this scholarship, okay? What's the hardest thing you've ever had to go through? What made it hard? What were you and or your family like before it happened? And then how were you different as a result of this issue, this roadblock, this challenge, whatever happened? And then describe how it made you feel, how it makes you feel right before and after. These kinds of things are the kind, when you talk about these kinds of things, they are the things that the scholarship reader will feel something for you, right? They'll have a personal connection to you. So these are the kinds of things that, and it might be one thing, it might be a series of things. In essays, we have students talk about a father being ill, death in the family. We've had students talk about learning disabilities, health issues, something personal that you've been through. And Cassie says, and I have said it on several sessions that she's had with her students, talking them through, these points. And the student has been open in sharing what had happened to them. And the idea is not to come from we don't want you to feel like you're disclosing something that will make people feel pity, but you're coming from a point of strength, right? You're talking about the before and the after. So you're coming from something of strength. But this is the kind of thing that will make a winning essay. All right? This is, at least in her experience, and I've seen her results, and it's true. Once you do all your brainstorming, and brainstorming could take a while, right? You have to really think, and you have to be open and honest. Then you want to go back, read through all of your brainstorming, and then you want to start to go through the essay and circle all of the best parts, right? And sometimes, most times, you start to see a pattern in an essay. A theme starts to come out, right? Also, in your points, you also want to add in elements of the program and the location that will help you in your academic future, that will help you in your professional future, right? So that's why we did research on the program and on the location before that. For example, if we go back to the professional column and we go to the 4 bottom points, you'll see what makes a good insert your dream profession. Like, say my dream is to be a social worker. What makes a good social worker? For example, a good social worker is somebody that cares about the children or the people that they serve. It's someone who can empathize with the children that they serve. It's someone that understands diversity and international or multiculturalisms, people from different cultures, maybe understands different languages. What skills will be needed in your dream job that can be gained in your study abroad experience? For example, when I go to Spain, will I learn another language? Probably. Will that make me a better social worker? Most definitely, right? When I go to Spain, will I understand diversity? Will I be a minority in a brand new country? Yes. Will that make me a better social worker? It sure will. So all that kinds of things you have to think about, and you have to start to write down in bullet points. And then, what skills will be challenged in the study abroad experience? And if you've ever come to a meeting that we've done, we've talked about all the different skills that get challenged, right? My flexibility, my patience, my thinking out of the box, all of those kinds of skills, right? And those are, you want to relate what skills will make you a good professional and how they can be gained in study abroad. Okay? Does that make sense? Yeah? Any questions? No? All right. So then when you start to write the essay, you want to start in the opposite order that you brainstormed. You want to start with the last first. So it doesn't have to be long. Remember, John said it's got a 7,000 character limit, which is a page and a half. So your 3 paragraphs have to be, your personal paragraph is the first one, your second one is your academic journey, and your third one is your professional journey. So you do have to be succinct. But I would recommend in the beginning, just write it out, no matter how long it is, because it's so much easier to cut out and edit and reword later than add in. So just write, even if it's double that, right? And then you can edit it later. So you'll do your personal, you'll do your academic, and you'll do your professional. Once you have it all written out, do you need an introduction? Do you need a conclusion? Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. Think about it. Reread the essay, fix any grammar, any spelling errors, and we all have like Grammarly. Do you have that in your laptop? That's a free grammar check, free spelling check. Definitely use that. Can you edit any sentence? Can you make it shorter? Is it too repetitive? Are you saying the same thing in 2 separate sentences? Start thinking about what you're saying. Read your essay as if you were someone who didn't know you, right? Am I explaining this? Are they understanding my story? Because I have my story in my brain. Are they understanding it? And then take it to the writing center, bring it to John, bring it to an English professor. You'd be surprised how many faculty will help you, really. So go to a faculty that you know writes really well. Maybe one you had in English 100, your English 103 faculty. Some faculty that you really trust and know has your back, right? And that will help you and give you really good advice. I'm sure you have some of those, even if it's not an English faculty. Counselors. And ask them to look it over, give you any advice, and then you will have a winning, hopefully, scholarship essay. And that last point that she says right there is readers have 3 to 5 minutes per essay, and they read an average of 150 essays a day. So did the reader feel something for you? That's the memorable essay. Okay? That's Cassie's method. Okay. She's a winner. Okay. Those are great tips. Yeah. So, where are we? You creative funding. Back? Wait, no, forward. Yeah. That's it. Okay. So now we're going to go over, we've had students who say to us, I don't write essays. I'm not going to do it. Forget about it. And they have decided to invest all of their time and energy in creative funding ideas, which is fine, right? If that's what you want to do, then put all your time and energy into this. We have had students, these 4 basic fundamentals at the top, students have raised funds to pay for their study abroad and their independent travel while they're there. First one is lifestyle changes. So look at your habits. Are there ways that you can cut down on what you spend every day? Like instead of buying coffee at the coffee shop here or going out to Starbucks, can you buy a coffee maker and make your own coffee and a mug and bring it with you? That will save you at least $4 a day, at least, right? Depending on $4 a visit. I don't know how many times you go to Starbucks in a day. Avoid the temptation of buying online. I know my two sons are Citrus College students, and they're still living at home, and I find an Amazon Prime package once a week at least at my front door, and it wasn't me. So avoid that temptation. I know that's one son. The other one is big on add-ins for games, right? And that dude spends $16 every time in those games, and that adds up. Over the break, he spent quite a bit of money on that. Set up a keep the change savings account. A friend of his was telling me she does this, and she does that. Every time she makes a purchase with her debit card, her bank does it rounds up the change to the amount that she wants and puts that round up amount in a savings account for her. So she saves money without even trying. She says she has to be really careful about her balance, right? Because it is being, money's disappearing that she didn't, think about, but it's all going to a savings account. A lot of banks will do that. Get a part-time job if you're not already working. And I know that that's kind of a stupid thing to say because most of us have part-time jobs, but can you get any extra hours? Are you able to, do some side jobs as well? We have students who do DoorDash,
Postmates. I think anything with tips, really, Starbucks, whatever. You can really generate some savings if you're thrifty and you have tips as well.
Right. Asking for gifts of money or travel-related gifts for holidays, birthdays, that kind of thing is always a good thing too. Right.
Right. Yeah.
So that is cutting down on expenses. The next one is getting creative. These kinds of creative side jobs are the way that a lot of students are raising quite a bit of money. Mowing lawns, we got some rain, maybe we'll have some grass into the summer. Raking leaves, bake sales. We've had students do bake sales and raise quite a bit of money on that. Our student one, Angelica, we're going to tell you a little bit about her method in a few slides. Yard sales, we've had students go around and set up yard sales and make quite a bit of money in a weekend. Babysitting, doing a car wash, seasonal jobs. I know that like Lowe's, Home Depot, the spring season is coming and they start to hire more people for the garden sections, right? And then using your social network, asking for people's support. That is another way that students are raising funds. So they are asking people to support their educational goals by giving what they can. I know that I have nieces and nephews that ask me all the time to donate to their sports teams, to buy T-shirts, right, for their dance trip, so such and such. So study abroad is another, educational goal of yours. I definitely love when they ask me for money for a school trip versus when they ask me money for their sports teams, but so I think that people will support you if you ask. So these are some little tips like updating your cover photo on Facebook to include your funding information, to include the photos of the places that you want to go, right? It's a really good idea to maybe make a little collage of, like, say your goal is London. So I'm going to put up photos of London and places that I want to visit, authors I want to study, or, things like that. That's a really good fun facts about the country and the city you're heading to, maps, things like that. If you're interested in studying abroad, you've got to start investigating the place that you want to go to. All right, GoFundMe, Venmo, those have a lot of examples of study abroad students that are raising funds. Go look through some of them, copy some of the things that you think are interesting that they're doing, And then we have students writing for sponsorship. So there are writing or asking family and extended family, your social organizations, your churches, reaching out to companies and organizations that you'd like to work for to explain how this experience someday will benefit them. And that kind of goes into what we're talking about, your professional goals, right? Why this international experience will make you the ideal employee. All right, and ask for support. These are some real-life cases. So Angelica baked her way to Barcelona. And Barcelona was always on Angelica's bucket list, right? She had heard about Antonio Gaudí when she was he's a famous architect that built many famous buildings in Barcelona, and knew she's an art major, knew she had to get to Barcelona, and she created a quarter-page menu. On one side, she did the list of the baked goods that she would bake, and on the other side, she put a photo of herself, photos and maps of Barcelona, and in the middle put the explanation of why Barcelona was important to her and what her goals were for the future. Then she went around she was from Mount Sac, ran around to campus and faculty offices and tried to sell her stuff. So she didn't bring her stuff with her, but she'd take orders. Does that make sense? That way you're not wasting anything either. She'd take orders, and she said if she just went in and said, I'm selling baked goods, generally it would be sort of a no, but she went in and started with, I'm studying abroad, I'm trying to raise funds, and told a little bit about her story, and I'm raising these baked goods, and it generally was a yes. So over a few months, she raised $1,500, and her sister helped her with the baking. She said if it weren't for her sister, she wouldn't have been able to do it. This is Christina. She was a Chaffee student. She also went to the same Barcelona program, raised $1,500 in a 2-day yard sale. So she went around to all of family, friends, and neighbors and asked them to clean out their closets, right? Give me all the stuff you don't want anymore. And then spent days advertising her garage sale, right? So she went around, put up signs, and the days of her garage sale, I think she did on a Saturday and a Sunday, got up really early in the morning, like at 4 a.m., because those garage sellers are early, and made $1,500 in 2 days. She also sold candy bars at work, saved as much as she could with part-time hours. And this is Hallie. She did just a card explaining her story and what her goals were, and simply asked for a very tiny donation. So she asked everybody she met for $2, and did it for a while and raised $1,000.
So many people.
Yeah, right. And then these are kind of ideas that faculty have given us.
Yes, and students have done this as well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you can use a mileage card. I have a United Chase card, for example. There's a million of them. There's other ones that aren't tied to an airline, and you get $2 for every dollar you spend, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So research that. It's great because usually you have to spend a certain amount, and then you're awarded 20,000 or 50,000 points or whatever it is. So for example, my student worker, she got a certain card, and she paid her AIFS program fees with the card, received the points, spent more, just daily expenses, spent money, and earned more miles, and she was able to, I believe, purchase her flight with the miles that she earned from the credit card. Of course, disclaimer, you need to be responsible if you have a credit card. You cannot carry a balance on a credit card. The interest is terrible. So you have to be able to pay that amount off, right? Quickly.
Right.
You don't want just money sitting on a credit card. It's a bad habit. It's terrible financial decision.
Right.
However, if you are responsible, if you can pay off the balance every month, it's a great deal to get these points.
Right. So Alex waited to pay her program fees until she had the cash in the bank, paid it with the credit card, and then paid off the credit card.
I think she had, in her credit card, there was some deal where there was no interest for a certain amount of months or something like that. So they're all different. There's a million of them out there.
Right?
Yeah.
Remember, banks are places of business. You go in and you talk to them about the different products that they have, and you try and figure out what will work best in your interest. Unless
your bank's Wells Fargo, because they will cheat you. Yeah, and there's, you can go online. There's like the mileage points guy or things like that, know, and there's blogs and they outline which are the best ones. So do your research.
Cool.
All right, that's it. Do you have any questions?
No.
Okay. Wow. I guess it was thorough because there's no questions. Well, thank you very much for coming.